In this episode of the Denoise podcast, we're going to talk about NAB predictions and what we already know.
And OpenAI's move into open weights.
Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Joey, you going to NAB?
I'm going to NAB, getting ready to go tomorrow. We just had a team meeting with all our editors and stuff, so getting ready for the circus of a bunch of video coverage.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's going to be a really exciting year. Lots of new announcements. I'm sorry I'll miss it.
I know.
But I'm sure we're going to catch up.
Yes, we'll have a debrief after the fact. But yeah, bummed that you won't be there. We can't tag team around the show. So yeah, but there have already been a good handful of announcements and interesting products coming out. So I kind of want to break down and talk about what we already know and what's kind of circulating around the internet. We're recording this Thursday.
Yeah.
I know Blackmagic is doing their big press live stream, or usually the pre-recorded, but their big press announcement of all their new updates tomorrow morning, Friday morning. So by the time this comes out, that will probably have already played. So then if you're like, well, aren't you talking about all the new stuff that came out? That is why we're talking about this Thursday. But there was a leak today of a new update to the PYXIS camera. They're releasing a 12K version. And I was wondering this, it looks like it is with their RGBW sensor.
Oh, wow.
Because I was wondering, I'm like, are they going to start putting that sensor into more of their smaller cameras?
Yeah.
And it looks like it. That's very exciting. And as we talked about in the episode, breaking that down, the really cool thing about that is if you shoot different resolutions, it automatically can remap on the sensor and you don't have to deal with the crop issue.
Yes.
So
it doesn't do like the typical downsampling.
Right. Where it punches into a section of the sensor. Right. This, if you don't want to shoot 12K, which a lot of cases probably don't. So even if you're shooting 4K, it's not like you're forced to crop in a lot more.
Right.
You can still get the wider field of view.
Which means you're still getting like a full frame lens response and you're getting all of the photosensitivity of that entire sensor, yet it's lightweight because you're probably shooting 4K or something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exciting. I am curious. So this was sort of a leak from there because Blackmagic usually does a lot of outdoor signage around the convention center and around the hotel across the way. The downside of that is you have to put it up early and people will take photos of it. And this was how it was posted on Reddit and they're putting the signage out. So it's just a picture of it. I am curious if it's going to be the same exact body or if it's going to address a few of the slightly annoying things on the PYXIS, like it only has one mini XLR input, doesn't have any internal ND. So I wonder if they're going to bump anything up with the PYXIS itself, or it's just a higher resolution version, same exact body. And then there's the URSA Cine 12K.
I was just going to say, like, this is the sort of issue a lot of manufacturers have with product lines at different tiers. Like you don't want the tier at the bottom to start nabbing sales of the tier up top, which really makes more money. So I think they'll keep a really clean line between the PYXIS and the URSAs.
Like you need more inputs.
Like you need more X, Y, and Z, go get the URSA. Or if you're good with this, get the PYXIS.
Yeah, I'm wondering that. What do you think? Pricing. The PYXIS as it exists now is $3,000.
Yeah.
We saw, what was the URSA 12K? They dropped the body only to like $6,000?
$7,000, I thought.
$7,000?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this maybe $4,000 or $4,500.
I wouldn't be surprised if they offer this at $3,000 and blow the red Komodo out of the water.
And drop the existing PYXIS price down to like $2,000 or something.
Correct. Yeah. It's what like everybody at the $3,000. It's incredible the world we live in. $3,000 gets you a solid cinema camera.
I mean, yeah, with Red dropping their price. I mean, I've not seen anything like affordable cinema cameras, high quality like this.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember like about a decade ago when we would have to shoot something? The hardest part was getting a camera with enough dynamic range, with the correct lens mount and all those things. And now those are all available.
That had video features. You know, we're talking about the 5D Mark II and it's like, wow, it looks great. Oh, but you can only record like a couple minutes at a time before you have to cut. And it has like 0 video features and you're sort of like hacking your way through it.
Yeah. I mean,
to get something that looks cool.
We didn't transition to like the mirrorless world of DSLRs. And now we're in the world of like proper sensors made for cinema.
Yeah.
Which is what the PYXIS and the URSA sensors are.
Yeah. I am wondering about the price. And I feel like it's going to be crazy that I'm going to probably have to ask companies this and bring in economic policy into NAB. But there are a bunch of tariffs that just went into effect in the US. And I'm wondering, is this going to affect pricing for these companies? Especially someone like Blackmagic. They usually are pretty outspoken about their price and make it a big part of like their marketing campaign.
Of course.
Is that going to change like based on...
Where are these things made? Probably not in America.
I highly doubt that. And they're also an Australian company.
So it's probably Southeast Asia, like Thailand, Vietnam. My guess.
So I'm wondering if for their sales in the US, is that whatever price they announce, is that going to stay the same? Is that going to change? And I'm kind of wondering that across the board for all the hardware companies with their pricing.
I mean, that's a bigger question for the economy. Are the manufacturers that are going to get hit with the tariffs, are they going to absorb the cost, cut back in other ways, like sales or marketing, whatever department? Or are they going to just pass that cost to the consumers and look 25% more expensive?
Right. Or a combination of all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. So didn't think I'm going to have to become an economist going to NAB, but I feel like that's going to like surprisingly play into the conversation.
I mean, just to kind of play the devil's advocate, who is American cinema manufacturing? Like as far as camera sensors go, is Red making their sensors here? Probably not.
Does anyone make their sensor here? I don't know enough about manufacturing, but I don't think anyone.
I don't think so. And that's the same issue with any kind of silicon, right? Whether it's a CPU or GPU, like the wafers aren't made in America anymore. And camera sensors are wafers. So I think there is not a single camera manufacturer that is not going to be hit with tariffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, where their cost of sales in the US are going to be affected.
Yeah.
One last thing about the PYXIS, I am excited that the way this news leaked feels like I've talked about how the excitement of like NAB pre-pandemic feels like it hasn't bounced back yet. But this was the kind of stuff that would happen from NAB or online around like pre-pandemic, where like some booth would be setting up their signage and someone would like sneak a photo and like post it online, and it'd be like, oh, look, Atomos is launching this new thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we haven't had that, buzz and excitement around some like leaked photo.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see that just anything is like leaked and there's some like mystery and excitement before it's officially announced.
It's really nice, right?
Yeah.
Because it takes you back to when you were excited about new technology and there was leaps and bounds in each generation. I mean, to go from, the old PYXIS to a 12K with RGBW sensor and still offer it at whatever price, I'm sure it'll be super competitive. That's a big deal. So very excited about that.
Yeah. All right. Other product announcement, workflow-wise, and they've been talking about this for a couple weeks. Strada is releasing a new app. They're calling it Strada Agents, and it's basically a piece of software you can load on your computer, and it will make any hard drive you have plugged into your computer remotely accessible. And you can access the media files, stream the media files, download the media files without having to put them on a cloud intermediary. It's directly peer-to-peer. You can just play it, stream it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How safe or secure is it? That's like my first question.
I mean, with their account access, I will ask him more details about the security. Right. But I believe it's streaming with WebRTC, and it is. I don't know if I don't think there's any encryption that's happening when you're playing it, but it has the account
but the actual
authorization
connection, how it opens up.
It's through your Strada account, which has credentials, and anyone. I mean, currently it's still like an alpha mode. They did send me a preview to download, and I messed with it yesterday, and it worked. I mean, it's wild. It's like works. I'm like accessing a computer like somewhere else, and I can just kind of browse. Like it only works with video files. Yeah. But I mean, I'm able to browse it and click and hit play, and it's just like playing back online on the computer remotely. They said they've tested it with a computer in Australia, and playback was pretty seamless. When this comes out, and if it works the way it's supposed to, and I mean, in my test it worked, it will solve a lot of the issues that I had when I was getting a NAS and I was trying to get the team onto it. And then I realized once you go into the media asset manager route, nothing directly works with the server. You have to upload a proxy to a cloud intermediary, or if they want to download a file, the file has to go to a cloud service and then goes to the person.
Like the Blackmagic Cloud thing, I think you had a video or a live stream. Yeah. How do you compare that solution, which I think is really well polished and elegant, versus something like this?
Blackmagic Cloud is definitely more polished, camera to cloud. They definitely went the Apple route. So if you are using Blackmagic cameras and you're using Resolve and you're using Blackmagic Cloud, it is a very seamless experience. And I will find out more about that because our plan is to use that entire workflow for our NAB coverage. I'll see how it works.
So you're really going to put it to the test.
I'm going to put it to the test because we have tried Frame.io and camera to cloud solutions in the past. And usually the issue is, you're using a variety of different manufacturers. The main issue we hit was the internet at the convention center sucks, and everyone knows this.
Yes.
And if we paid up for the Teradek with the 5G, we just didn't have the budget for that. Yeah. This year, I'm going to have a phone I'm using as a hotspot to try to solve that issue. Okay. We'll see how it goes. So your original question, comparing it to Blackmagic Cloud, it's different because Blackmagic Cloud, you still have to put the media on the cloud storage, and then it downloads a local copy to whatever editor has access to that footage. This, you plug it, you stream it.
You get access to the actual file.
Yeah, you're basically turning your hard drive into a cloud accessible cloud drive. Yeah. Like your own personal cloud without having to actually use a cloud service.
And it's not just
and then no subscriptions and none of all of that advantages that come with having your
really
storage.
Promising. How would they make money from this?
I mean, they have a subscription service right now.
Right.
I don't know what they're pricing or how they're going to price this in. It's still early. I mean, I think they're previewing it. I think the official rollout that they have planned is in June.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it worked when I tested it. The playback was really smooth. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And it's pretty innovative with what they're doing at Strada.
It is. Yeah. I've never heard of anything like it. And of course, production is so decentralized now. We cover tax incentives or where everything's going. This is like hand in hand with all of that.
Yeah, if you could just plug in the drive on a main computer and then all your team can access
it. From your stage in Ireland to the team in LA?
Yeah. I mean, I think the next stage would be like when you can start doing stuff with this media, like running basically running transcription, running AI analysis, doing string out edits in the cloud, using this media on the hard drive, and then being able to whatever workflow, like download an XML file or download just the media clips that you need to your computer. So a lot of possibilities here, and just cool that they're going the route of where you don't have to have a cloud involved, because that starts getting pricey.
Overarching cloud service.
A cloud service where you have to you have your files locally, but then you got to copy them or upload them to a cloud service, and then you have duplicates of files, and how do you manage all that? And it gets messy and expensive.
Yes, agreed.
All right. Adobe announced a bunch of updates and features yesterday.
I saw that.
One that was most interesting in Premiere is Smart Search.
Okay.
Context search.
I thought Generative Extend was also really interesting.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm being picky on that one because they talked about that last year and it's been out in the beta. So I'm like, well, it's not new. It's official. It's not new. It's officially in their official product release.
But the fact that they've rolled it out on the public release to millions of Premiere users, that's a big deal. This is generative AI at scale in the hands of consumers, and
something that is like a very practical application of it. So
absolutely,
Generative Extend, if you're not familiar with it, it is basically like a common issue you run into as an editor is like, I want to add a transition, or I need to extend this clip and they cut too soon. There are a couple of tricks you can do as an editor to try to fix that, but their solution is you just drag the handle out and it uses their Firefly model to generate. Look at the video that you have before and then generate the extra frames that you need.
I mean, the first question everybody's going to ask is, how good is it?
I don't know. I've not tested it. I've seen, I'm trying to think if I've seen people test it.
I've seen some videos online. I think in some cases it's absolutely usable, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that this is something that I see a lot of editors using day one.
I mean, it's a case where you're like, I need a couple extra frames to hold for this dissolve that I'm trying to do. And there weren't enough frames for it. That's like probably the most common
and if
case.
It's going to dissolve anyway, you're not going to see final quality and all that.
I mean, my solution for that has always been like, well, just slow the clip down. We'll just, buy a couple extra frames. And that's your solution. So that is cool. The one they announced that is new is basically, I don't know what model they are using, if it's their own model, but it can analyze your footage and you can start searching based on context. You can search your footage, the plate or the medium shot of a person. So that smarter contextual search of your media inside Premiere.
That's video-based, not audio-based.
Video-based.
That's video. You mentioned that is really important.
That's really important, and that's something that not a lot have been tackling. 12 Labs is a company we've interviewed a few times, and they have a dedicated model to understanding video. But I think this is the challenge, and this is the benefit where it's like, as a user, as an editor, you want these tools to be in the one app that you use all the time. So it gets really complicated when it's like, well,
I have to
12
get
Labs
out
can
of
do
Premiere.
it, but then I got it. Or even if I think they do have an extension or something where it's like you can bring it in, but they never work as well as it's built into the app and it just works.
And that gives Adobe users so much more reason to continue their Creative Cloud subscription or whatever they're paying for. They're like, this tool just keeps getting better and better.
Another very practical use of AI. I feel like maybe Adobe went a little too hard on generative and that kind of scared a lot of the user base. And this is a much more day-to-day practical, you have a lot of footage, you need to sort through it, or you need to find the shots.
Although I will say Adobe, I haven't looked into it too much. There was a little bit of heat around their end user agreement around.
In the promo videos, they did specifically say, we don't train on your videos.
Right.
I think they wanted to clarify that because there was some vaguely worded language in the end user agreement that someone noticed, and then that kind of caused a stir.
I think initially when they rolled out some of the first AI features from Adobe rolled out in Photoshop, and when that got rolled out in the agreement, it was something to the effect of paraphrasing, hey, we may use your artwork to generate more stuff.
Right. Okay.
And this is like
maybe it was just vaguely language because they in the promo video it said we only use your video for generative extend to understand what we have to generate, but that we're not training a model. I would also be surprised if they even did that because their whole foundation of Firefly has been like they're one of the only models where it's like we
clean.
Have trained on licensed data. We know everything it's trained on. We have permission to train on it. It's commercially usable. Yeah. I think they back it by like $1 million guarantee or something. Okay. So they have been like hardcore have been like, yes, it is a commercially safe model. Like we know what went into it.
And their business depends on it.
Yeah. And then Frame.io launched an update with transcription.
Oh, love me some Frame.io.
Yeah. I even saw this announcement. I was in Frame and then this little thing popped up and it's like, would you like to transcribe your video? And I was like, what? That is another useful, because it's like keeping everything in the same tool. That has been another round trip process for us of like, we need a transcript of this. So we go take it to another tool. And then there's no way, they never had transcript support, even to search. Yeah. So yeah, it's nice to just see that they're extending that out. What I would love to see in Frame.io though, that they still have not launched in version 4, and it's been a year now, API. There is still no API access in version 4. So I hope that comes like soon. Because
the flip side is it's so strong on a browser. Like there is no other tool I can think of, you know, even like Sync Sketch or ShotGrid that is as good as Frame.io, as clean, as easy to use on a browser, on a phone. It just works.
It's just a seamless experience.
I mean, Adobe's move to acquire Frame.io was so brilliant, you know. And did you hear, Joey, that they are in talks with Figma right now?
Weren't they trying to, and then it fell through? Or am I thinking of another deal?
I think there was like a monopoly thing. Yeah. And that just got cleared. So I think they're good to go.
Oh, so they are going to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Figma
was eating their lunch with like...
Oh, Canva was eating their lunch with... Canva is the competitor to Adobe Express. Figma is the industry standard tool for any kind of UI design.
Like graphic design.
Like app design.
Web-based.
Yeah, like mobile apps and stuff.
Yeah.
You can very quickly put animations together in Figma. It's all web-based and stuff. Yeah. Very cool tool.
And so that is moving forward, because I remember that wasn't like a $20 billion deal or something like that. Yeah. I feel like shifting more web-based tools too is another kind of future trend. Like I feel for that to work, especially with something with Premiere, is that you can have the same project, the same experience, and not have, this is the web version of Premiere and you can cut here, but then it has absolutely nothing to do with your desktop app.
Yeah.
It's like, I would want something where it's like they mimic each other, where it's like, okay, I could have the producer, someone, if they need to do some like Descript like experience of like make an assembly cut, but that it syncs and is represented back in the desktop version where the professional editor is going to be doing the finishing.
Version control, same file.
Something where it's not like, is it even like Photoshop Express or Photoshop?
Adobe Express.
Adobe Express, where it's like the web version and it's sort
very
of
different.
Has some like cloud syncing with Photoshop, but
Adobe Express is, in my opinion, just like a attempt at Canva, where Canva clearly shines on how sophisticated it is as a browser-based tool. But Adobe Express is nothing compared to the power you have on Photoshop. So you're absolutely right. I think that bridge needs to be just more sort of intertwined.
Yeah. The other thing I think they can do more of too is connecting Adobe and Frame more, because comparing it to the Blackmagic experience, where now we're working in a Blackmagic cloud project and it integrates directly with Blackmagic storage and Resolve, and the media just syncs. Adobe sort of has the Teams, which is like a cloud-based collaborative project, but it just handles the project files. It doesn't do anything with the media. So they're like, well, then, use a third-party solution like LucidLink and put your proxies there. Yeah. But we tried it and it was just not a very seamless experience.
I agree. And I'm sure they're working on it.
And they own a cloud. They have Frame. It's like they have their own cloud service. It's like you could do this. You can put the two together.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one was an update from Celtx. So are you familiar with Celtx?
No, I would have never known how to pronounce this, by the
way. They were one of the first sort of web-based screenwriting programs. Okay. I remember they've been around for a while, and they sort of were web-based, kind of trying to compete with like Final Draft and the other screenwriting programs. They were bought a while ago by Backlight, which is the company that owns Iconic and a couple other media tools. And I'm excited to see updates, because I haven't really seen much updates with them, but I'm excited to see there's progress there. One thing that they're launching that looks cool is a screenplay plugin for Premiere that will...
Tell me more about that.
It seems like it is a similar feature to Avid's Script Sync, where Avid has this built-in feature where you can import the script and it'll sort of match it with your shots and kind of help you pick takes and build out your first like assembly cut.
Okay.
It seems like it is a similar feature to that, but with Celtx and with Premiere. And so you can connect your Celtx script inside Premiere and help like find your shots and do your like initial rough cut.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done feature film editing. I'm sure it's very daunting. I'm sure you have.
Not a feature, but yeah, like
but
short,
like really long, big projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the longest editing projects I've done is probably 15 minutes, right? So imagine editing like a 90-minute thing. You would need tools like this.
It helps speed it up, yeah, especially if you're doing something episodic, you have a script, you're doing a vertical soap opera.
Yes. By the way, one of our podcast listeners from Philippines messaged me and said that they're doing some vertical dramas over there, and I asked him to send me some, so he will.
All right, yeah, I want to see. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another update. I just thought that was cool and worth mentioning because Celtx has been interesting, and I'm glad to see that there's still a new product
Very
updates
cool.
there.
Moving into virtual production.
Yeah.
What's Mo-Sys up to?
Mo-Sys. So one of their updates is they have a smaller version of their StarTracker coming out. That's their camera tracker. Yeah, I saw a picture of it. It looks like small, much smaller. Like
I mean, the StarTracker is small.
Yeah.
So smaller than the StarTracker.
This one's smaller. I don't know if they're targeting more of the creator space with just having something to maybe not necessarily do in camera visual effects or real-time tracking, but something to put on your camera to just track the 3D space accurately to use it later in post.
Like if you're running with like a Sony FX3 or A7R, you just pop it on top. It's as small as those cameras.
Yeah, and then you can get your camera data and you can use it later. Something similar to a use case you might use Lightcraft for as your phone. I mean, it might do real time as well and just be smaller.
Also, they're probably competing more down market, so where HTC Vive Mars is.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty solid camera tracking system for, I think, a couple $grand.
Yeah, the whole kit's $5,000.
Yeah. So I think, and a Mo-Sys system is probably double that. Like a StarTracker.
So I'm wondering, is this going to be in the 10K range? Are they going to loosen up on the subscription fees?
Yeah.
Which, these higher end trackers charge continual fees for.
I'm excited. I mean, any kind of technical advancement, miniaturization, streamlining of technology in the virtual production space benefits everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think seeing 2 new trackers was on my card this time. In between this and the Ocellus from Sony.
Yes.
2 new trackers in the market.
Yeah.
The other thing that they announced, and I feel like this is going to be, I'm trying to think of like, what trends or what other things are we going to see at NAB? And AI has always been a hot topic, but I still don't think we're going to see anything that's like revolutionary.
I think
definitely not at NAB. It's all on Twitter, like the AI updates.
Well, that's what I was telling you. I think last episode, you're like, is Runway dropping this in front of NAB? I was like, Runway has no idea what NAB is. Those are 2 different things. I think the big theme here to me feels like refinement,
workflow integration.
Yeah.
I see a lot of AI updates, but it's like on the enterprise level of smart dynamic ads or upscaling your broadcast stream or your older broadcast streams, like so that they're, from HD to 4K using AI upresing.
The manufacturers are smart. They're following the money. The money is no longer in like a classic film and TV shoot per se, because the market has just been weak for the last couple of years. So where is the money? Broadcast, the VP outside of film and TV, so corporate, house of worship.
And that's why I'm wondering if like having it as a smaller and just like a camera tracker, and not necessarily like, you want to build it into a
soundstage,
right? A real time LED wall, ICVFX, but you just want highly accurate like camera tracking. If that's
you look at a consumer-oriented company like DJI, right? They're selling to millions and millions of people. I think Mo-Sys wants a piece of that little market.
Yeah, there's like a market there too, education. But trend that I do think is sort of sneaking up, Gaussian Splats. I've seen like 3 or 4 different company updates around integrating or something with Gaussian Splats. So one of them is another update from Mo-Sys. We got this email this morning calling their scan to shoot VP workflow. And it is basically, it seems like it's a combo of using LiDAR and Gaussian Splats to scan a scene to do previs and tech scouts, where you can scan an environment and then bring it in. I believe Mo-Sys is coming into play using their software and create a photorealistic looking, highly accurate 3D representation of whatever location you're trying to scout. And then everyone else can come in and like virtually scout.
That's super forward thinking on Mo-Sys' part, because they already have the ecosystem. So why not just bring a Gaussian splat technology into it? And I think the announcement that I saw was they scanned something in London, sent it to Studio X in Thailand. Shout out to Linda. And they shot as if they were in London in Thailand.
This wasn't just for previs. This was also like to put it on the wall. Like,
I believe so. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense with scan to shoot. That would make sense in the
bringing
title.
the location across the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. When I was reading the press release, it seemed more like a tech scout kind of thing. But yeah. Okay. To getting final. So how high of the resolution would you need display on a LED wall?
Pretty high.
And I get because
Gaussian splats are not there yet as far as resolution goes. Not because the scans aren't good enough. It's just a real-time performance limitation because they're computing those ellipsoids, those Gaussian little bubbles on the fly, millions of them at the time. They need to be in the billions. And I don't think like the current algorithms and the compute power is just there yet.
I mean, it always comes down to like, what kind of shots do you need? And is it going to be blurry in the background? So yeah, I'm curious more. And I'm talking to Mo-Sys. I'll see what this workflow looked like.
I think it's definitely promising because the whole, upside to Gaussian splats is you get the parallax, you get all the benefits of photogrammetry without any of the work involved with building a photogrammetry asset. You just did a whole thing with global objects and Leica, and there was a lot of post-production.
Mostly Leica Geosystems. We got the part 2 with global objects that is not released yet, but global objects takes the Leica high-res LiDAR scanners and then combines it with their method of doing high resolution photography.
Yes.
And then merges it to get these photorealistic, highly accurate digital twins that are good enough to display on an LED wall.
The global object outputs will probably be really high resolution and good to go on an LED volume because they're done the traditional way, probably using something like reality capture, like a very industry standard software. Like, what if you can do, half of that quality level at like 5% of the work?
Right.
That's the promise of Gaussian splats.
And they're believers too. Like the Gaussian splats will be the future. It's not there yet.
It's not there yet.
But that is where it's going to go. But we're seeing a lot of updates with that as now. So I mean, the other one, Lightcraft Jetset, which we've talked about repeatedly, but yes, where they have the app on the phone, you can strap it to your camera. But they have been doing a lot with loading Gaussian splats directly onto your phone, much lighter weight. You can have a bigger world. You don't have to deal with the whole Unreal Engine.
That's asking for a lot on the phone.
We'll also see how that works and get a demo of the workflow with that. But yeah, that was another big push they were doing. And also one of their other updates was that when you're recording on your phone, it will also record the LiDAR data.
From the depth sensor,
Yeah, from your phone as another data track that you can use in post-production.
And I think the LiDAR data just comes in as a grayscale image. So it's pretty easy to work with in like Nuke or something.
Where you just kind of like a video depth map based on the data. And then this other update from Volinga, which is another
Gaussian splat.
Digitizing the world.
Shout out to Fernando Rivas.
Volinga announced that they have a ASUS color managed Gaussian splat.
Wow, that's
so how does that even work?
Yeah, so I know Volinga a little bit, and they have been finding out ways to take their 3D Gaussian splat engine and make it production ready. So some of the things that are missing in Gaussian splats right now is like bit depth, like the stuff that it's mostly 8-bit. Color space is a big issue. I mean, you're shooting something on an iPhone, going through the Gaussian splat solve, and then when it comes out onto a wall, what color space is it at? Well, it depends on the color space you shot it, but is there any transform happening during the solve? So I think this is an attempt at fixing all those things. If you can have an ASUS ready Gaussian splat, then you can color manage it with any sort of standard media server, like a disguise system. And then that will ensure that, your oranges are exactly the shade of orange that you intended and so on. So this is a really big deal. It doesn't seem like much, but it is, if without this step, Gaussian splats won't be taken seriously in the production world.
Right. This puts it more in the actual production pipeline to be more viable.
Yeah. And just to
professional use.
Pair this with Stability AI joining the Academy Software Forum. So they are also, I'm speculating here, they're just probably working on making their generations ASUS compliant.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all like, it doesn't matter what you can build with it. That stuff soon has to go into a movie pipeline.
And that's been a big issue with the AI outputs. It's like, you can get it, but it's like a weird low-res format that's barely usable
8-bit.
for like anything outside of the web.
Yeah, it's typically sRGB 8-bit, just like any JPEG image on the internet, but that's not what movies are made with. So if you are, do you know if you were shooting a Gaussian splat for this pipeline, do you have to shoot it on a camera that can handle this color system or in a format that can go into the Volinga pipeline and maintain the color space? Yeah, I would imagine that take some really high dynamic range camera, just like a PYXIS, right? And shoot it raw and then color grade it in your computer. So conform it to like a Rec 2020, push that into Volinga. It'll output a Gaussian splat that is now built with Rec 2020 files, and then Volinga will be aware that it's in 2020 space. And so when you plug it into a system that can recognize color spaces like ACES, you can check the 2020 box. So my guess is it's something like that.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like, Gaussian Splats was a little bit sneakier as more of a thing I've been seeing trending more than just AI.
It is just more of a practical use case of AI technology. I mean, the Gaussian Splat system is solving using machine learning. It's just not generating stuff. It's recreating the world. And I think that has far more implications, not just in film and TV. You're talking about museums and virtual experiences and domes and anywhere you're trying to recreate something else from the physical world. 3D GS is very cool.
Yeah. And last one that we had flagged that was interesting. Another update from Sony. They have an update to their VENICE extension system. It's the VENICE extension system Mini. I have been a little bit fuzzy on how different this is than the Rialto and why it's not just called the Rialto Mini.
I think the Rialto was very niche, boutique, and experimental. I know they used it for Avatar 2 and they used it for Top Gun.
And just to set the stage, so the Rialto was you have the Sony Venice camera body.
Yeah.
The Rialto is you take the sensor and put your lens on it and have a 8-foot-ish cable. So you could kind of mount the camera in different spots it's physically too small to mount or handheld.
Yeah.
So you can separate the body from the sensor so you put the body on your backpack or somewhere else.
Yeah. Like just to give a frame of reference to our listeners, the Venice 2 is about the size of your head. And let's say you want to shoot Top Gun. Tom Cruise is in a cockpit. In front of him is the HUD of the plane. There is probably like a 6-inch by 6-inch space to put a camera. So you can't put a Venice 2 there. So this cable extends just the sensor to that little spot, which is that size. And then all of the processing and the memory card and all the writing is happening up to, I think, 18 feet away.
18 feet, okay.
Yeah.
And so, so you can put the body by his feet or somewhere else where you have more space where you can mount it out of the shot.
I think it's like a fiber optic cable that's super, ruggedized. So the Rialto, this was a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, when that made a big splash. It still felt like a very boutique thing that not a lot of cinematographers are using. It's very expensive. It's something that Sony is probably supporting one-to-one. This feels more like a product, like that's just ready to buy and go out into the world.
And it is smaller than I believe the Rialto was, like a physical size of it's the same sensor, but it's like, I think it's pretty much the sensor in a little box.
Yeah. It's like a little bit bigger than a GoPro. Yeah. It's very small.
Yeah.
So for a full frame I think the Venice 2s are even bigger than full frame. That's a giant sensor in that little package.
Yeah. So there's another update from them there.
I heard rumors.
Interesting.
Joey, this is just a rumor, but we're undenoised here that Sony's looking at an extension system for other cameras like the FX3. So like more of a consumer-based extension system.
That's already so small.
But imagine if it could be
see it for the
1 inch by 1 inch.
I could see it for like what's their more body
FX6.
FX6.
FX6 up is more of a traditional body.
Yeah, I could see it for like that.
Yeah.
Where you have a kind of a bigger body, and so you can put the body somewhere else.
Yeah, FX3 is like an A7R DSLR type
FX3
body.
is like, so like it's small already.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but
they shot the creator on the FX3. Did you know that?
You heard it here first.
You heard it here after 20,000 other people kept talking about that. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I know there is a version of it for DJI came out with a version of it for the
4D.
For the 4D.
Yeah. Which I love that camera. And the Corridor Crew folks, the YouTubers, they love that camera. They use it all the time.
I have never used it, but it looks fascinating.
Yeah.
For very interesting shots.
They use it for Civil War.
Yeah, they did. I think I told you this too. I saw them using it on F1. In reality, like when they were because when they're shooting the F1 film, they were like bringing the actors into like actual F1 events. And so
that's right. You said
I saw on the podium when they had like Brad Pitt on the podium and they had everyone act like, he really won, that there was a person with the 4D like filming him.
Because you don't want a giant
and you can get, they talked about that in Civil War. It was like, well, you can tweak the stabilization balance where you can have it, kind of have a little bit of handheld, but stabilize it. So you had like a lot more control over, if you have like a lock solid gyro stabilized or something in between handheld and stabilized.
I think it has like a weird lens mount. That's like my only note is how do I mount like
it's like DJI's lens.
Yeah.
The Zenmuse system
like
or
that.
whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you can't just throw any lens on it, but I heard the sensor's pretty solid.
Yeah, I remember when when the drones are such a hot thing and they were coming out in NAB. And do you remember 3D robotics?
No.
Yeah, they were short-lived. I have one. I bought one. They were like, oh, they didn't make the actual cameras. They were a GoPro mount, but they had some of the earliest ones. They were one of the first companies that kind of where you could program smart moves into the drone, but then it would hold a GoPro camera. And my thought was like, well, I would rather go with GoPro, who makes the sensors, than go with like DJI, where it's like they make drones and sensors.
Right.
That was the wrong choice.
Clearly, they figured out that whole game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our kind of NAB roundup of what we know now, but obviously there'll probably be more updates and stuff. And so we'll be doing a bunch of video coverage. So all of our videos are going to be on YouTube. So check us out on YouTube. And we will do another debrief next week after we check out everything and see what we didn't cover here and all the new updates and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a few surprises. So definitely tune in next week for our full NAB coverage.
All right, and last story here, another kind of interesting update in the AI space. What do we got, Addy?
Yeah, so OpenAI, one of the companies that we're all following closely as they're really setting the trend for what is happening in the AI world, right? They're generally first to market. ChatGPT 4.0 image generator blew a lot of image generators out of the water. They were the first to sort of introduce an LLM to the public with ChatGPT, first to kind of come to market with video generation model Sora. So this is a company that's clearly steering the ship. And so now they announced what they're calling an open weight, open source model. So let me back up here.
Yeah, what is that?
So basically when you have a AI model that's fully trained, it's quote unquote closed, which means the actual secret sauce and how it is reasoning is all built into neural network weights. And there's billions and billions of these weights which connect, one matrix multiplier to another. And there's a weight. And imagine like a very complex circuit with a lot of wires. And each wire is either very thick or very thin. And that's the weight of the wire. And this is more or less the AI model's that is the snowflake, right? That is what makes the AI model unique from the next one. So for them to just come out and release, quote unquote, their secret sauce of a model, that's huge. This is exactly what DeepSeek did. And that's why anybody can run DeepSeek on their computer, because you can just download the weights.
Or take it or modify it and make it your own version.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe Stable Diffusion is open weight as well. So that's why Stable Diffusion is so popular.
Llama 2, Meta's Llama, or they?
Llama 3 is open weight as well.
I meant 2 as well.
Yeah.
TOO. Yeah.
Well, you remember when, this was like a year ago, when Elon Musk had a problem with Sam Altman. And Elon Musk was one of the primary founders of OpenAI back in the day. So, well, you might as well call your company Closed AI because there's nothing open about it. So fast forward today, they're coming in on their promise
making it open.
Yeah, they're making it open.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're doing it because they're altruistic. I think they're doing it for very hard to find business reasons. To me, it feels like that is enterprise and where all of the money is to be made. You cannot make that money with the closed model.
So if it's open, you can just download the model and then modify it yourself, correct? Like, do companies charge for the models if it's an open weight, or is it pretty much standard where it's like it's freely available?
If it's an open weight model, the model's already been trained. You can modify the output to some extent by attaching LoRa's and some front-end tools. But the biggest benefit is if it's like, we're thinking in the M&E world, if you have a Disney or an Amazon or a Netflix, these guys are very protective over where their data lives. They have release slates that cannot be made public, secretive movies they're working on. They're not going to use a black box on the cloud for any kind of work. It just doesn't make any security sense. So having an open weight model will enable them to bring in this OpenAI model within a controlled environment, within the four walls of the data center at wherever, run it locally, do the inference locally, and have full control over it.
Let's say you're a small company and you want to like a DeepSeek. DeepSeek, people would download that. They don't have to pay.
DeepSeek is free
for the model. So like, is OpenAI going to do the same thing, or are they going to have to? I don't know. You have to pay to license it.
Yeah. So I'm just following what Stability AI is doing with Stable Diffusion. There's 2 sets of licenses, and this is the same with like Unreal Engine. You have a consumer license for the average amateur user that's free, practically free. And then if you're going to use it to make a commercially viable, output, like a movie or a TV show, then you're going to have to pay the company. So my guess is OpenAI will roll out. They'll still have a free version of this open weight model. That's probably some amount limited or the last generation of it. And then if you want the latest and greatest, you're going to have to pay some kind of license fee to get the open weights and maintain them at your own site.
Right. And do you think this is going to be the money play in the future of like, maybe it's not by charging the API access to the black box of the models that they host, but building out custom solutions or building or like support or like something similar to like how Linux is a free operating system, but they still make a lot of money by, you know, offering the support and packages and custom solutions?
Yeah, Joey, I got to say, I'm not sure how AI revenue will sort of grow and evolve over the next couple of years. It's not as linear as we all thought it was, which is that you spend $10 billion on making this model, you host the model, people log into the model, they get what they need, and they pay you, which is kind of what ChatGPT is, but it's clearly not where the money is. The money is not selling $20, $200 a month subscriptions. The money is selling a $1 million a year subscription to a big B2B company. And those guys, they don't want to run a black box on the cloud, right? So yeah, I agree. I think something like Red Hat, where Linux is free, Red Hat Linux is free, you can download it, but then good luck building your own application on it without Red Hat support.
Something breaks, who do you call?
Who do you call? All the training that you need to build a Linux application, and that's where Red Hat makes their money. I think technically they're a nonprofit company, if I'm not mistaken. I would imagine OpenAI goes that route where, first of all, it's an arms race. Like the LLM model that's amazing today is completely outshadowed in 6 months. So you can't just spend $10 billion and sit on it. You have to get ready to spend the next $15 billion to get the next bigger model done. And while you're doing that, you have to figure out how you recoup the cost for the $10 billion you just spent. So it's an extremely aggressive business with lots of cost, lots of expenditure, and unclear revenue. That is the part that worries me a little bit. I think the AI bubble will burst a little bit. Having said that, what AI promises and how it's transformational is absolutely true. I'm just not sure that we thought, you know, as linear as a business model could be, it is going to be that in the future.
I mean, I'm thinking too, like, is it also more, you know, is it the $1 million a year subscriptions? Is it the someone building an actual solution that makes it more user friendly to like the wider user base? Like there's a lot of kind of criticism where it's like, well, your product's just a ChatGPT wrapper. It's a ChatGPT wrapper. It's like, well, that could be very useful. Yeah. Because a lot of people are not going to want to have to figure out how to like prompt hack or, you know, like even going back to our editing examples of like going back and forth between multiple tools. Right. They just want their one tool to work and use it. And it's like on a consumer level, it's ignoring the, you know, enterprise needs where it's like they want private data and private training and serving.
I think the sort of uncharted territory and where a lot of money is to be made and still hasn't been made is applications. I think there are no killer applications with LLMs yet. You know, of course you have a ChatGPT app, but it's really a direct access to the cloud-based black box. And that's why everything Adobe's doing with Premiere, to me, it's so promising because this is an application that's widely used. If you drop a couple of new features into it, it immediately gets utilization and you get feedback and data on it. You can improve those features over time. You need more application layer stuff in this AI ecosystem. One of the examples early on, you know, remember when Midjourney was on Discord?
Yeah.
And you wanted to generate an image. This is like early days, just a couple of
days. Early days,
early.
Middle last year.
Back in the day. And instead of that, Leonardo, which is a competitor to Midjourney, had an iOS app. So you can do everything Midjourney could do, but from your phone, it had all the controls. So which one would you use? Leonardo, right?
I used Midjourney.
Well, for me, it's all about convenience.
I figured out how to use Discord so I could use the Midjourney.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting for your picture to come back, but you had to do it on public channels. So as you're waiting for your image, every other image is just like popping up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, I think the application layer hasn't been cracked. And so these models, like, you know, ChatGPT or Runway Gen 4, the models themselves are not the money maker. It's everything around it that'll make money.
Yeah, and how to make it more useful. I mean, I think also the other thing to crack is like the killer app or the useful app is when it could get into, the data that we use every day. And I think the two companies that are most poised for that, but have not really been doing the best at it, is Google with Gemini, which has sort of been integrated in Google Docs. But then I ask it, I'm like, do this thing with this doc. And it's like, I can't access that info. And it's like, what are you doing in my Google Docs if you can't like do all this stuff? Yet. And then Apple, which, it's on our phone and it could easily, handle calendar and contacts and all of our, a personal assistant, like a true personal assistant. And they've been delaying their AI launch and stuff. And I'm sure for there are billions of users. So it's like when they launch something, it's got to work. I understand that partly, but
Marquez Brownlee has a Apple AI video out now that kind of paints them in a negative light. And kind of rightfully so, it's like big tech company reaches full maturity, is at the cusp of big technical breakthrough, can no longer keep up. That's happened to Kodak, that's happened to IBM, that's happened to practically everybody. So the question is Apple there right now?
I still have a lot of faith in Apple. But I think the biggest fumble was announcing this and doing a big push for this last year and then coming out this year and being like, sorry, not ready. We're going to wait another year.
Yeah. No, I think Apple Intelligence is half rolled out on iPhones now. I have it turned on. And
it's not useful.
I'm not getting anything like mind-blowing out of it. It does summarize emails and stuff.
You're not using Apple Memoji, AI emojis?
Yeah, it does a weird like text summary and email summary, which nobody asked for.
Yeah, they're not useful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it up there.
All right, sounds good.
Links and everything we talked about, denoisepodcast.com.
If you're at NAB next week, give a shout out to Joey or just leave us a comment. And if you want to connect in real life, let us know.
Yep. All right. Catch you in the next episode.